I want you to just picture this for a second. It's 5 p.m. on a Wednesday. Yeah, you're at your desk, you're staring at the screen, and those fluorescent lights are just humming.
That low hum that gets right into your skull?
Exactly. You've got, what, 47 unread emails blinking at you? There are 3 reports you haven't even touched.
And there's that budget meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30.
The one that needs data you don't have because finance hasn't slacked you back from 2 days ago.
And the feeling in that moment, it's not progress, it's not strategy. The feeling is that you're basically a firefighter.
A very highly paid firefighter, just putting out fires. It's the hamster wheel. I think everyone listening has felt that specific kind of panic. But today, we are not just, venting about burnout. We're doing a deep dive into something that claims to completely flip that script.
We're looking at Clawdbot en action, specifically 7 strategies for the modern administrator.
And the research here is pretty clear. This isn't just another productivity hack, is it?
Not at all. This isn't about color-coding your calendar. The sources frame this as a solution to a crisis of, and I'm quoting here, cognitive time.
Cognitive time. Okay, that sounds a little academic. What's the difference between that and just normal time?
It's a great question. It's about cognitive load. The Harvard Business Review talks about this. It's not that we're just busy. It's that we're mentally exhausted from processing so much fragmented information.
Right, the constant switching. Email, Slack, a report, back to email.
Exactly. That switching cost just destroys any ability to think deeply. So Clawdbot is defined as a contextual intelligence assistant.
Contextual intelligence. I like the sound of it, but what does it actually mean in practice?
It means the AI understands the who, what, and why of your work, the context. So our mission today is to shift your mindset from seeing AI as a tool, like a calculator,
Something you open and close.
to seeing it as a digital colleague that's always on. And we'll see how this lines up with studies from MIT Sloan, which say the real power here isn't replacement, it's augmenting human judgment.
Augmenting judgment. Okay, that's the thesis. Let's see if it holds up because I know people are skeptical. So we've got 7 strategies. Let's jump into the first bucket, the information side of things.
This is what the source calls the data-driven strategist.
Right, and strategy number 1 is the real-time market analyst. This one hits home for me. Making decisions based on reports that are already out of date.
The lag time issue. It's a huge problem. You get a quarterly report, but by the time it lands on your desk, the market has already moved.
The trend is over.
It's over. The source introduces this concept of claws, hence the name Clawdbot.
Clause. A little aggressive, but I like it.
Think of them as digital sensors that you set up to track sources continuously.
So instead of me manually checking 5 news sites and 3 competitor blogs every morning, the claws are doing it 24/7.
Precisely. But here's the key difference. It's not just an aggregator like Google Alerts. It synthesizes the information.
Okay, how so?
Well, the example they give is super specific. You set a task. Every Monday at 8 a.m., give me an executive summary of retail trends in Latin America from last week.
But does it get granular? Because a generic summary isn't that helpful.
It gets very granular. It does sentiment analysis, so it reads the emotional tone of the market. It specifically flags moves by your key competitors, say company X, Y, and Z.
So you walk into your Monday meeting with a briefing on what your rivals did over the weekend, and you didn't have to spend your Sunday researching it.
Exactly. And the impact is measurable. Forrester Research is cited saying that leaders using real-time data are 127% more likely to exceed their market goals.
Wow.
You're playing offense instead of defense.
You're looking through the windshield, not the rearview mirror. That leads pretty naturally into strategy 6, which is kind of the other side of that coin. It's about surviving the data we already have. They call it infoxication.
Infoxication. I love that term. Information overload, drowning in newsletters, PDFs, reports.
And starving for actual knowledge. So strategy 6 is the information curator. This is where you literally feed Clawdbot your documents.
Right. And this is that contextual piece again. So the example is you upload 5 consulting reports, 10 academic articles on change management, and your own internal surveys.
That would take a human being weeks to get through.
Weeks. And you'd forget what was in the first one by the time you got to the 10th.
For sure.
But here you feed it all in. And instead of reading, you just ask it a question in natural language. Something like, based on these docs, what are the 3 biggest barriers to tech adoption for a company like ours?
See, that's the powerful part. It's not just summarizing, it's synthesizing.
It connects the academic theory from the articles with the real-world data in your surveys. It finds the patterns. It helps you form a judgment and opinion instantly.
It's like a research assistant with a perfect memory.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, does that make us lazy? If I'm not reading the reports myself, am I losing something?
It's a fair question. But think about that cognitive load. If you spend 90% of your time just reading and only 10% thinking, you're not a strategist. You're a data processor.
Good point.
This flips the ratio. It frees you up for the actual thinking, the judgment call. You just have better, faster evidence to work with.
So you're shifting your effort from ingestion to analysis. Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
So that's the strategist part. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the operational guardian.
Right. Strategies 2, 4, and 5. This is where you see the big efficiency gains.
Let's start with 2, the invisible process auditor. Invisible is the key word, right? You usually only find a broken process when there's a crisis.
Or when a client is yelling at you because their order is 3 weeks late.
Yes. So how does this stop the yelling? How does it see the invisible?
You connect it to your ERP or CRM logs, the back end of your business.
For anyone listening, ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning. It's the central data hub of a company.
Correct. And Clawdbot learns the normal heartbeat of your company. It learns how long things should take, and it watches for deviations.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you're monitoring purchase orders over $10,000. High priority.
Right.
If one of those orders sits in the same status for more than, say, 48 hours, maybe it's just stuck in a manager's inbox. Clawdbot doesn't just watch, it flags it. It notifies the manager and their boss.
So it's a proactive nudge machine. Hey, this is stuck. Fix it now before it's a real problem.
It's a nervous system for your processes. The Association for Intelligent Information Management says 30% of work time is lost to these inefficiencies.
30%. That is a massive amount of time, a day and a half a week.
Imagine getting that back.
Okay, let's talk strategy 4, the custom report generator. This feels like it was designed for anyone who's ever made a board presentation.
The pain of copy-pasting.
It's the worst. Pulling data from Salesforce, costs from NetSuite, survey scores from Zendesk, mashing it all into a PowerPoint at 9 p.m.
This proposes using smart templates. You just tell Clawdbot, every first Thursday, pull these specific metrics, graph them like this, and put them on slides 5, 6, and 7 of this PowerPoint.
So it's not just dumping the data, it's actually building the slides.
It delivers a draft that's ready for you to review. The source claims it can turn an 8-hour task into 1 hour of polishing.
That's the dream. You spend your time thinking about what the numbers mean, not fighting with PowerPoint's formatting tools.
You go from being a compiler to an analyzer, an editor, not a scribe.
And quickly, strategy 5, the regulatory watchdog. This seems essential for finance, healthcare, any regulated industry.
Absolutely. The risk is just missing a legal change. You can't read every official journal, so you set the clause to filter for keywords like data protection law.
And it alerts you.
It alerts you with a summary of the change and, this is the important bit, its potential implications for your company based on your data. It's proactive risk mitigation.
Okay, I have to pivot here, because when we talk about this much automation monitoring, generating, watching people get nervous.
The what's left for the humans question.
Yeah, or the fear that it kills creativity, the human interaction part of business.
It's a valid concern, but the source actually tackles this head-on in the section on the creative and human element.
Right. Strategies 3 and 7. Let's start with 3. The proactive meeting assistant.
Okay, so this one starts with a mind-blowing stat from Microsoft Workplace Analytics. Managers spend an average of 22 hours a week in meetings.
22 hours. That's more than half a work week. And how many of those are actually useful?
Very few. Usually because of a vague agenda or people aren't prepared, this solution tackles the before, during, and after.
Okay, walk me through that.
Before the meeting, it sends everyone a dossier with project history, relevant data, so everyone shows up on the same page.
That saves the first 20 minutes right there.
Then, if it's recorded, it generates notes. But the real win is after. It sends out structured minutes with clear action items and assigns reminders. It creates accountability.
So the goal is to turn meetings into, what? Decision spaces, not just information dumps.
That's the exact phrasing. Turn meetings into decision spaces, not information spaces. The information exchange happens before, so the meeting is purely for strategy and alignment.
I love that. A decision space.
Yeah.
Okay, but strategy 7 is where things get really interesting and honestly a little weird.
The innovation facilitator.
Yeah, this one surprised me. We think of AI as logical, cold, not creative.
But the source suggests using Clawdbot as a divergent participant to break groupthink.
A divergent participant. What does that mean? Someone who just argues with you.
Sort of. Think about a brainstorm. Humans in a room tend to converge on similar ideas. Social pressure, shared biases. Clawdbot doesn't have that.
Very.
So the example given is wild. You ask it to solve a logistics problem using the framework of a coral reef ecosystem.
A coral reef.
Yes, it sounds crazy, but it forces you to break out of your normal thought patterns. Ask a logistics manager about shipping, you get answers about trucks and warehouses.
Right.
Ask an AI to apply the logic of a coral reef symbiosis, nutrient flow, waste recycling, and you might get a completely novel idea for your supply chain.
I just love the image of being in a boardroom and someone saying, okay, team, but what would the coral reef do? It's brilliant.
Another example was using the engagement models of video games to figure out how to retain junior talent.
Gamification for HR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just expands the solution space in ways a human brain can't easily do on its own.
So we've covered all 7. It's a pretty comprehensive toolkit.
It is, but we have to ask the big so what question. What does this all mean for the job itself?
And the term they use is the augmented administrator.
Yes, and they reference Brynjolfsson and McAfee from MIT. Their research shows that tools that augment humans rather than replace them generate the highest productivity and satisfaction.
So the future isn't about who can memorize the most data. That skill is being commoditized.
That game is over. The future administrator is the one who asks their digital colleague the smartest questions. You shift from doing the manual work to orchestrating the outcome.
You become the conductor.
Exactly.
But we have to be realistic. This sounds amazing, but the source provides some pretty critical warnings. This isn't a magic wand.
Absolutely not. And this is where companies can really get into trouble. The biggest one is GI Go, garbage in, garbage out.
The old computer science rule. If your source data is bad, your insights will be bad.
And this is where so many AI projects fail. You can't just slap this on top of a messy data system and expect miracles. If your CRM is full of duplicates and outdated info, the AI's predictions will be useless.
You have to get your data house in order first.
First, automation applied to an inefficient operation just magnifies the inefficiency.
And the other big one.
Privacy and security. It's non-negotiable. You are giving this AI the keys to the kingdom. Your ERP, your CRM, you need rock-solid boundaries on what data it can access.
You don't want it summarizing sensitive HR reviews and putting them in a general report.
Of course not. The permissions have to be incredibly robust. You have to treat it like a high-level employee with strict access protocols.
It's a lot to consider. But if you get it right, the upside is huge.
It all comes down to attention. That's the real currency at work. This tool extends your attention, it accelerates your analysis, it partners in your creativity.
And it brings us back to that 5 p.m. Wednesday feeling. The panic, the blinking emails. If you implement even a couple of these strategies, that Wednesday looks very, very different.
It does. You're leaving on time. You've spent the day making decisions, not copy-pasting data. You're doing the job you were actually hired to do.
So the challenge for you listening is not to ask if you'll use tools like this, but to ask which of these 7 strategies you'd implement first to get your time back.
The barrier isn't technical anymore. The tech is here. The barrier is cultural. It's about being ready to stop being the firefighter and start being the orchestrator.
That's the thought to leave you with. Are you ready to start building the fire station? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.